And Shalom is Brother Yashima Zakar from the Israelite Report, IsraeliteReport.com. Upon my watch, all praises are definitely due to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahawashi. Peace and blessings to all the brothers spread across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth and sincerity, those that truly believe, and want to get the hell up out of here. I'm going to start off right quick with Isaiah 46:9. It says, "Remember the former things of old, for I am Yahweh, and there is none else. I am Yahweh, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning." And I brought that out because there's a lot of people uh, saying a lot of BS in these times that we're in. Um, and there's a heavy spirit of doubt that's moving out there. There's a heavy spirit. People are doubting the Lord. People think things are just going to continue on the way they are. And I constantly remind you that things are happening even if you don't see them happening. Because the Lord is cold like that. The Lord will do that. He'll have things shaping up while the world is just going on about their day, not even realizing what's happening. Okay, see, you have the news, and then you have what's buried under the news. Some of the most important topics get buried in the news cycle, and you almost got to catch it. You got to pluck through the news. While they have you looking at one thing, there's something else going on. And if you notice, a lot of times the things that I bring out, um, or you hear me talk about, you won't see it as a major story in the news. So I'm saying that to say the Lord declared the end from the beginning. And these things are playing out right now in this time. People still think they have a lot of time left, and you don't. Verse 10 again, it says, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Because this is the will of the Lord. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executed my counsel from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it, I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it, I will also do it. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. This is Order Out of Chaos, Part 10.
Here's how the people in control play us every single day. There's this very well-known saying from the Freemasons, order out of chaos. This is a Freemason chessboard. This represents duality, good and evil, black and white, yes or no, just duality in general. And there are two opponents facing one another. When you're in the game, you think you're actually fighting one another, right? It's black versus white, evil versus good, empire versus empire. The chaos that they're creating with these battles seemingly looks like chaos. But if you were to look from a higher position and look down, you realize that they are all part of the same game, and that's where the order comes out of.
Donald Trump just signed this executive order today, April 28th, 2025, strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. I read through the whole thing, but this is the part that stuck out to me the most. Section 4 of this executive order says, using national security assets for law and order. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies as appropriate, shall increase increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. There is only one reason to sign an executive order like this with that language in it, and that is if you are intending to use the United States military as your police force to police the citizens of the United States. Now, there is already a law on the books, Pase Comitas Act of 1878. That law strictly prohibits the use of the United States military in civil law enforcement duties. So the only way that Donald Trump would be able to utilize this executive order is one of two ways. First, he gets Congress to pass a new law that reverses Pase Comitas, or two, he enacts the Insurrection Act and is then utilizing the military to regain civil control of the United States. That is literally the only two directions that they can go with this executive order. Just thought y'all should know.
So now you heard what the man said in this clip. And I actually went and checked it out myself to make sure that it was true. I went to whitehouse.gov to see if this was real, because you got a lot of people playing games online. They'll come up with something and just throw it out there, and it turns out it's not true. That's why you have to kind of like sort out the real news from the fake news. Even Trump said that. But so I went on whitehouse.gov and I searched it out, and yeah, it's true. Like he said, Section 4. Now, this is the thing. We've been hearing, those of you that have been, listening to people like Alex Jones or whoever, David Icke, Jordan Maxwell, Bill Cooper. For many years, you've heard these people, some more than others, speak about a police state. And I know, over the years, I've observed the police become more militarized. That's the word I'm looking for. They become more militarized, especially after 9/11. After 9/11, they became more militarized. So something that I harp on this week after week after week. I'm always getting on this, or I'm always harping on this. There has to be a false flag to justify it. And I was listening to someone today earlier, and they were speaking about the the kind of like the parallels between what's going on with Trump, the Trump administration and Iran, and what happened with George W. Bush and Iraq and Afghanistan, but mainly Iraq. And that's something that I bring out all the time. It's like deja vu. Like I'm watching the same thing develop. There has to be some sort of false flag. And I thought about it earlier today, and I said to myself, Trump is supposed to be the fall guy. Like it came to me, he's supposed to be the fall guy to piss everyone off, including his supporters. Because when they turn their back on him, they're going to take to the street. And that's exactly what these so-called globalist elites want. That's why I'm naming this order out of chaos. So when the chaos comes, Trump is going to say, hey, I have to restore order. So let me get this from whitehouse.gov. It's called Strengthening and Unleashing America's Law Enforcement to Pursue Criminals and Protect Innocent Citizens. And this is the guys, this is the umbrella, so to speak. This is the talking point that they're using. Strengthening and unleashing. This is the words that was used by Donald J. Trump. This was actually signed off by him. Strengthening and unleashing. He used the word unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. And my mind goes to um the past, I want to say 5 years or so, with these smash and grabs. You had little Pookie and Ray Ray with the shiesty mask on. Uh, you had the flash mobs. They would go into these stores and just steal every damn thing, right? Grab as much as they can grab and run out. And it was controlled by Esau because they had a thing where if they didn't steal over $1,000 worth of items, then there was no police response in certain places. And that was done intentionally. That was done on purpose. So now Trump is coming in with the hammer. He's coming in to restore order. So now we're in a space where he's kind of picking up where the George W. Bush administration left off at. And I know that sounds crazy to y'all. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people. They say, well, how'd you skip Obama and Biden and go straight to Trump? Well, you have to understand that the powers that be, I'll say it like that, the powers that be are patient. This is the man that they wanted with the right propaganda behind him. Same thing with the so-called illegal immigrants. It's the right propaganda behind them. Oh, they're illegal immigrants. They're raping and robbing and killing. I have to get rid of them. Deport them all. So in this section 4 from whitehouse.gov, strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens, it says using national security assets for law enforcement, law and order, right? Using national security assets for law and order. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense, Salakia, Secretary of Defense, and consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies as appropriate, shall increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. I want to read that little part again. This is important. Homeland Security, right? The Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies, as appropriate, as they deem appropriate. You have to understand the wording that they're using. Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies, as appropriate, shall increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions. Now, local jurisdictions. Oh, this is getting good now. National Guard. Because the New World Order, the so-called powers that be, the globalist elites, as they call them, as Esau, these Edomites call them, they see American citizens as potential terrorists. And yeah, I said the T word. YouTube is going to strike me, but fuck them. This is what I've been getting at. This is what I've been trying to get across, the message I've been trying to get across for quite some time. At some point, they're going to deem the average, everyday working American citizen a terrorist, a potential terrorist at the least. You understand what I'm saying? This is why it's important. Listen again. It says, um, military and national security assets in local jurisdictions. Local. That word is very important. Local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. So there's going to come a time when you're going to see a false flag. They're going to have to restore order because things are going to get so chaotic. And the military but they will assist local law enforcement. It says within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Listen carefully. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how the military is not supposed to cross that line and deal with U.S. citizens like that, impeding local law enforcement. They're not supposed to, that's not their job. But listen to what this says. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Meaning, criminals will be looked at as terrorists. This is the buildup to a police state here in America. And for the 1 millionth time, I'm going to say it again. 2020 was a test run. 9/11 was a test run. 2020, they militarized the law enforcement. Excuse me. They militarized law enforcement in certain cities. I remember Minnesota. Certain areas were kind of like, you were in checkpoints during the 2020 pandemic. Certain states you had curfews, if you don't remember. Now, the reason why I talk about Trump is because I understand it. The same man that was in office when they did the test run is probably going to be the same man in office when they bring about the real deal. The real shit hitting the fan. The real shit hitting the fan this time around. Now, be honest. How many of you knew that Trump was introducing this or signed this executive order and posted it on whitehouse.gov? And I'm telling you to go. All you got to do, I'll tell you what, do this. If you think I'm lying, if you think I'm capping on bullshit, go type this in. This is what it's called. This is the title: Strengthening and Unleashing America's Law Enforcement to Pursue Criminals and Protect Innocent Citizens. Type that in. I promise you, it will come up on whitehouse.gov. Section 4. Whitehouse.gov, Section 4. Okay? They're preparing for something. This man has not been in office 6 months yet. Again, my humble opinion, this is my opinion. I believe Trump's second term is about collapsing America completely to finish it off. It's already on the way down. I think the whole thing is to destroy and rebuild. They believe they're going to destroy it and rebuild it. Even in the ancient occult, what do they call it? The ancient occult, the Egyptology and all of that. They go into the phoenix bird crashing and burning and coming up, right? It goes down as one bird and then comes up as another, right? The bird goes down, crashes into flames, and out of the ashes, it forms into a phoenix bird, right? So what they believe is, as the Big New Brzezinski once said in his book, I believe it was The Grand Chessboard. I believe that was the name of his book where he said this. It's been many years since I read that book. But I believe he said something on along the lines of America will be the world's first great superpower. Matter of fact, I think he said it will be the world's first and last great superpower, and that it would, and I'm paraphrasing, it would crash and become a new world order. So I believe Trump's job is to create as much chaos as possible with the food shortages and, with the supply chain malfunctions and all these things being hyped up. If they deliver on that, you're going to see riots in the street, protesting, uprising. That's his job. And you may not see it right now, but I believe it's coming. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe by the end of this year, because remember, he has not been in office 6 years. I believe by the end of this year, you will see the shit hitting the fan. And by 2026, oh, it's going to get nasty. In my opinion, this is my humble opinion. All right? And they will justify rolling out military personnel into the streets at some point. Let me go ahead and get this because I'm running my mouth. Y'all know me. Let me go ahead and get second Ezra's 16 and 36. It says, "Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake." Are we believing in these false gods? It says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh." The plagues are here. And it says, "And are not slack. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." All right? Because the Lord is not a man that he should lie. These things are coming as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. And we're about to see some pains, man. It's about to get ugly. And this is what I meant when I said these niggas that are out here that are not preparing you, they're telling you it's an Israelite party, and I'm telling you there's no fucking party. This shit is over. Okay? It says, as when a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. Everybody's going to look. America, what happens in America affects the whole entire world. 40th verse says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. Get ready, get war ready, get in the mindset of being a militant. Not like militant, like you about to take up arms, but I mean in the spiritual battle. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, right? Okay, it says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Be as pilgrims. Be ready to move at any moment. At any moment, this shit could hit the fan. Cause I don't know. I don't know the date. I don't have a set. Like I can't. I'm not the Most High. Measure thou the time diligently in itself. These are the times you can see the Most High is about to visit this place. You can see it. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. Get war ready, battle hardened, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Get ready to move. Get ready to give up some things. That's why I say you got to be in that mindset of fuck this world. You have to have that attitude. 41st verse, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. So you got to be ready to lose in this world. And I'm speaking to myself before I speak to you. Because every day I'm thinking to myself, man, I look. Because, sometimes you can get caught up in this shit. You can get caught up on, and oh, man, I got to do this. I got to do that. My woman be having me on missions. you know, and I be saying to myself, nah, fuck all that. Nah, fuck that. Sometimes you just got to be like, hey, fuck all that. You don't be a complete jackass or an asshole. But at the same time, yeah, you do have to be an asshole. You do. You have to be an asshole. You know, we're not in our kingdom. We're not in our rest. And you got to remember that. You got to remember that. That's why I'm okay. I'm going to read it again. Oh, my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle. You're in a battle. You're in a fight. You're in a spiritual war. And Satan is attacking you on every front. Any way that he can get at you, he going to get at you. If it's not mental or physical. He gonna get at your ass. He attacked me all the fucking today. It was retarded how Satan was just attacking me on every level. I was just like, God damn, motherfucker. But I'm at a point where I can say that's Satan. That's Satan. Okay, Satan. Here you go. Like you gotta be in that mindset. Okay? And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth, meaning move. Be prepared to move. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that have no profit by it, and he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. There's going to come a time when you're going to be tested at that hour of temptation, mainly talking about the mark of the beast. But a lot of you are going to be tempted in other ways, including myself. You know, you got to be ready. you you got to be ready to let go of shit. Matter of fact, let me get this right quick from from Twitter, from X. Um, y'all know about the power outage that happened earlier this week with Spain. I guess it was parts of France, Portugal. Someone wrote this and it caught my attention. It says and this was Eva Villar. I believe it's Eva Villar on Twitter. Says so electricity is down in all of Portugal, Spain, and parts of France, question mark. Imagine the chaos. Now they're using the word chaos, right? And that word has been propping up a lot lately. Imagine the chaos this is causing and the lives it'll cost. And yeah, and that's what people aren't, they're not aware that there's an agenda or this is a part of the playbook of the wicked elites of Esau Edom to cut the power, right? Shut down the grid, even if it's for a day or two. Order out of chaos. The people will go crazy. They'll riot, break into each other's homes, steal from one another, rob one another, right? Wait, it says, so electricity is down in all of Portugal, Spain, and parts of France. Imagine the chaos this is causing and the lives it'll cost. Modern life is so unimaginably fragile. What in the fresh hell is going on? Cyber attack? Question mark. And I keyed in on this part right here. It says modern life is so unimaginably fragile. People don't understand how fragile their lives are because we're at this point, everyone is dependent on the internet, their smartphones. Everyone, including myself. Man, if I lose my phone, I'm fucked. Imagine someone that doesn't believe in Yahawashi Yahawashi. I know I can get another phone, right? I'll lose a lot of information, but I can get another phone. Now imagine someone that doesn't have faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. They're gonna lose their goddamn mind. Now take that same thought and imagine them being off the grid, power outage for a week. They're gonna lose their shit. Now remember, Klaus Schwab said, I believe it was back in 2022. He was basically saying that the pandemic would be nothing in comparison to a cyber attack. He was saying that openly. A cyber attack would just pretty much end or break any nation, any country, because the people will lose their damn mind. I want to get this in Second Ezra 6:22. It says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown." Right? All your hope in America will go bye-bye. One cyber attack. All that comfort will go bye-bye because everything's online. Your banking is online. And that's number one. That's numero uno. Your food online. Most of you people are ordering food online. Your products online. One cyber attack. It only take a week for you people to lose your shit because most of you cannot fast. I fast every week. Not brag. That's not a brag. I want to make sure that's just me. I do that. I make sure um, that's my thing. Like I've been doing that since 2020. Actually, no, excuse me, Slocky. I've been doing that since 2019, right before the pandemic. Um, that's my thing. I once a week, I try to, and I do that because, I feel lighter. I feel better when I do that. That's a personal thing. I'm not saying everybody has to do that shit. I don't want to be one of those people. But it's just me. It's how you know, it's my thing. But a lot of people just aren't able to go 2 days without food, and they're gonna lose their shit. They're not used to that. They're not used to it. I know I usually get a little weakened by the third day. Um, fourth day, I'm like shit. That's when I'm feeling it. But a lot of people are gonna lose their damn mind, and I keep harping on this because you cannot underestimate your neighbors, how quick they'll be to turn on your ass, especially if you look like you're doing okay and they're not. Suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Your comfort, you're comfortable. Because I'll be honest, American men have become like females, and females love comfort. Women will be with a guy for years, even if they don't love him, just because they feel comfortable. Comfort. Suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And you hearing all this talk about supplies not making it, you know, because of Trump and his tariffs. And the trumpet, and that's the will of the Lord. The next verse, 23rd verse says, "And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid." And notice this word suddenly keeps popping up. Suddenly, all of a sudden. It was all good just a week ago. And a lot of you, it's going to be all good just a day ago. And then all of a sudden, suddenly, right? And the trumpet shall give a sound which every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. There's going to come a time when you won't recognize the country that you're living in. There's an Edomite. He could be Jake. I don't know. But he's been saying this since 2020, since I started listening to him. I won't say his name, but he's been saying this. He said there's going to come a time when you will not recognize your country. Shalom, his brother Yashima Zakar from the Israelite Report. IsraeliteReport.com. Upon my watch, all praises are definitely due to Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi. Peace and blessings to all the brothers spread across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth and sincerity. Those that truly believe and want to get the hell up out of here. I'm going to keep this kind of short. It's been a hectic week. It's been a hell of a week. Hell at the workplace. Even, at home, different things I got to do. It's just been fucking, this has been, one hell of a week. But, I wanted to get this from the New York Post, so I got to keep things kind of short and fast. I won't rant today. I'll try not to. It says American Jays, right? You know who the Jays are, JEWS's, right? Face a record 25 anti-Sim incidents, right? This Semitics, right? Anti-Sim incidents per day last year, more than one per hour, with most related to hatred of Israel. Startling report. And I'm bringing this out because I see the game plan, I see the playbook. They're going to say the Hebrew Israelites are anti-Sem, anti-J-ish, anti-small hat. And they're going to run this play. That's why they have their agents in place. That's why they have their COINTELPRO in place. That's why you got your Bishop Nathaniels and people like that. And I don't know what this guy Al-Azhar is doing. These guys are weird. They throwing up Masonic signs and shit. A lot of weird shit going on. Excuse me. But again, this came from the New York Post. I'm gonna read the article. I'm gonna try to breeze through it, so bear with me. It says JEWs in America faced more than 25 anti-Semitic incidents per day last year, or more than one per hour, with most of the hatred for the first time related to opposition to Israel, right? The state of Israel. A startling new report released Tuesday by the Anti-Defamation League found, okay? So this is the play that they're running because, this word is going out. People are learning the truth. We got scoffers, but we also have those that are silently watching and listening. Okay, and they know this. So they're trying to do something to combat that. This is their pushback. This is the only play they really have. It says here, there were a record-breaking 9,354 incidents of anti-Sem assault. So now they're building the case that these small hats, the J-ish people, are being assaulted and attacked more than anybody. So this is very key to understand, is that what they're getting ready to do, they're getting ready to push this idea that they're more oppressed than black people. I could go on a long rant as to why that is, why they're doing it right now. Ultimately, it's because their time is short. But also it's because I've seen a lot of black, I would say, content creators speaking on the J-ish people. It used to not be so. It used to not be like that. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. The black man would always say it's the white man, right? They used to say it's the white man, the white man, the man. You know, the white man keeping us down. The white man is oppressing us. Now, what's happening is I'm seeing black content creators, and Candace Owens being one of them, and she's an agent, but she's one of them, speaking out about these J-ish people, these small hats, these people that call themselves Israelis, right? That used to not be. So then now they're getting ready to what they're getting ready to do is they're getting ready to make it look like the J-ish people are more oppressed than so-called Negroes, damn sure more than Latinos and Native Americans. This is the play they're getting ready to run. It says it says there were a record-breaking 354 incidents of anti-Sem assault, harassment, and vandalism across the country in 2024, according to the ADL's annual audit. And we know what the ADL is, Anti-Defamation League. It says the total represents a 5% increase from 2023 and a 344% increase over the past 5 years, an 893% increase over the past 10 years, and the highest level record since ADL started tracking this data in 1979. It says the 12-month total for the 2024 average for the 25 targeted anti-J-ish incidents in the U.S. per day, more than one an hour, right? So they're saying there's more than one anti-J-ish um, incident, targeted incident per hour, more than one per hour. Says this is horrifying. This is a quote from Jonathan Blatt. The Jonathan Blatt is the CEO of the ADL. This is what he says. He says this is horrifying. This is horrifying level of anti-Sem. It's saying it should never be accepted, and yet, as our data shows, it has become a persistent and grim reality for American J-ish communities. Quote, J-ish Americans continue to be harassed, assaulted, and targeted for who they are on a daily basis and everywhere they go. This is going to get turned up, ramped up as time goes on, because Trump's job is to get sympathy for Israel. I'm talking about the state of Israel. Go to war with Iran, right? They have to play this card. Meanwhile, what's going to happen, they're going to silence, or at least try to silence, the men of the Lord, those that are, professing themselves to be Israelites, those that have turned their back on this world, and they're saying, look, we're the real Jews, we're the real 12 tribes of Israel. What's going to happen, they're going to target you in a way that you probably wouldn't imagine. That's why I said it's suspicious that Nate is, for whatever reason, the IUIC has this thing with the Nation of Islam, calling them their brothers. Now, we know what Islam is usually linked with, and that's terrorism. See, I see the play. I see it coming. I see what they're about to do. But anyway, I'm just giving you, just telling you, giving you a heads up. I'm telling you this is coming. It says here, In another quote, it says, "But let's be clear, we will remain proud of our J-ish culture, religion, and identities, and we will not be intimidated by bigots." Right. Also, I want to note that another reason for this guy, Kanye, doing what he's doing, yeah, you might look at it and say, oh, Kanye, he's exposing these J-ish people, but then he's doing all this other weird shit. And that's being done on purpose as well, because, him coming out with the so-called KKK outfit on, remember, he once called himself an Israelite. He said we're the original Jews. We're the real Jews. He said that. So now you have the same person. If you go check the timeline, the same person, and then he said he was going to go DEF CON 5. I believe he said DEF CON 5 on a J-ish people. Then he releases this album, or this album, I don't know if it's out yet, where he's got these snippets talking about he's anti-Sem. And then he's got another song where he's giving credit to Hitler, right? He's praising Hitler. It sounds crazy to somebody that kind of doesn't get it and doesn't understand how sneaky and crafty Esau is. What Esau is doing is he's building a narrative. And that narrative is that any black person, so-called black, right? Because they try to pretend like we don't have Latinos who know that they're Israelites or, profess to be Israelites. Any so-called black person that says that they're the real Jews or the real Israelites, that they're in league or aligned with KKK, Islam, right? Any, punch in any terrorist organization and they'll throw that in there as well. And with this current administration, uh, they're basically doing this whole, crackdown on anti-Sem or anti-J-ish uh, talking. These talking points. Anybody that's bringing out any evidence that these people have been, evil, being as devilish as they've been. If you bring out facts about these J-ish people, you're now a target because Trump is working solely for the J-ish people. That's why he's talking about cracking down on anti-Sem. And I keep harping on it, but there's going to be a famine of the word to come very soon, very soon, very, shortly. It's soon to come. I'm going to give Revelations 2:10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. Ye shall have tribulation 10 days. But be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And this is the part of claiming that you're an Israelite, right? Saying that you're an Israelite. This is that part right here where you're gonna see a lot of people fold up. This right here. This right here. Remember, I always say you gotta have a fuck the world attitude. All this nice guy shit, it ain't gonna make you not making it with that. You gotta remember that the world is against you. It was against Yahawashi. And if you truly love Yahawashi and you claim to be a follower of Yahawashi, the world's gonna hate you too. So sometimes people get caught up in their feelings and their emotions And they're like, you can't, you just can't be that way. You can't just curse everybody out. Fuck everybody. If you're not a true believer and willing to die for this, if you don't feel like, you know, fuck my life, I'm ready to go, then you're not going to make it. Not going to make it. This world is bullshit. And if you haven't figured that out, that's why I say when like you look at the Sakaris and you look at not well ISUPK too, but not really. I'll say IUIC. ISUPK, they at least, they'll say the name of the Lord. They'll say, Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. But you look at how worldly Sakari is, you look at how worldly IUIC is, you see that they're trying to basically be friends with the world. Real soon, there's going to come a time when you're not going to have nobody next to you. You're going to be on your own. And that's coming. It's a self journey. It's a self journey. Not having nothing to lose is really the best position to be in. That might sound crazy to some people. But feeling like, fuck this world, I got nothing to lose, that's the best position to be in. Because this scripture right here, Revelation 2:10, that's not going to hit you, for lack of better words or better term, that's not going to hit you the way it will hit the next guy, the guy that got it all, the guy that's having an Israelite party. They think this Israelite thing is about having a party and having these big gatherings. Your brothers and sisters, let's come and that's we the nation of Israel. When you on the bottom, right, and you got shit to lose and you hate everything, and you hate every goddamn body, because you just catching hell left and right, that's really the best position to be in, especially in these coming days. I'm going to read it again. Revelations 2:10. Fear none of these things, none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. All right? I want to get this from, I got this on X right quick. This came from this guy named Carl Vernon. He says, if you're not under the same hypnotic spell as 80% of society, most films, TV, music, food, and people will irritate you. So sometimes I come on here and I curse everybody. I curse out the world. And that's just frustration from living in this world. Everything irritates the shit out of me. And I don't know this person. I believe it's an Edomite, but it's true. Because I say this, I say it all the time. Some people can see through the bullshit, the lies of the politicians, these actors, these comedians, these rappers, and all these entertainers, because they're all given the same scripts, right? And some people can see it, that all of this is fake. None of this is real. And I'm going to read what he wrote again. If you're not under the same hypnotic spell as 80% of society, Okay? A hypnotic spell. These people are walking zombies. Most films, TV, music, food, and people will irritate you. You can see the propaganda in the films, in the movies, the TV shows, the music. You can hear the propaganda. The Megan Thee Stallions, the Cardi B's, the Sexy Reds, right? The propaganda that they push to the women. Be a bad bitch, a thought. Being a thought is the way of coming up for a woman. And then on the other side, you got your Lil Durks, your NBA young boys, and whatever retarded ass nigga that they roll out there next, pushing this gangster lifestyle. Meanwhile, they're all snitching and going to jail and then coming out because they snitched. The street culture irritates you. Then you see these little niggas out there in the street really trying to live the life that these guys are portraying. The shit irritates you. The food. He mentioned the food. Knowing that your food is poison. And we would eat our bread defiled amongst the Gentiles. Knowing that your food is poison. And I hear all day long people talking about they eating healthy. And that's cool. You do the best you can. You know, me and my woman, we try to eat as healthy as we can. You know, she's big on vegetables and whatever. You know, we both don't eat pork. So we got that in common. Cause she's Muslim. You know, I'm an Israelite, so I don't eat that shit either. But at the same time, I know in the back of my mind, I don't say it to her, but in the back of my mind, I know all this shit is poison. All of it. So I'm irritated by everything. And I have to remember to, calm down. The Lord got this. This is his plan. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. The wicked is having his way. He's on his last hurrah. Let him have his moment. Yahawashi and the angels going to come through and take care of this shit. Someone wrote, and this was a reply. Somebody was being a smartass. They wrote, "It sounds like some sort of mental health problem if you're irritated that often." Meaning, this guy's saying like if you're irritated that often, there's something wrong with you. But no, actually, you're gonna be irritated. We're serving a prison sentence. That's what this is. We're suffering for what we did in our past lives, what our forefathers did, because we're coming back as our forefathers. Ecclesiastes 7:7, it says, "Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Now, I always say this. The key word there is wise. You have to be wise enough to even understand that you're being oppressed. Because a lot of niggas think they're free. The average Jake, the average nigga thinks he's free. They're talking about the Emancipation Proclamation. I forget what day it was, but recently we had Emancipation Proclamation Day. And my coworker was just talking about, oh, we was emancipated. Isn't it a day that's supposed to be celebrated? When I tell you this shit irritate the fuck out of me, man. A lot of niggas just gotta get killed off. They just have to be. Israel has become the perfect slave. As Israel is serving, has become a homegrown slave. That's Israel. That's Jake. Jake is not wise enough to even know that they're being oppressed. Okay? Psalms 139:19, it says, surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O my power, Yahweh. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? So this is the problem. All this Christian church love, love, love. You both did loves everybody. You both did loves everybody. Bullshit. Psalms 139:21. Do I it says, do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? So yeah, we're irritated. As that post said, we're irritated. I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies, not my friends, not my loved ones. He said, I count them mine enemies. I hate them with a perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. Search me, O power Yahweh, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. That's what we're praying for. We're praying to make it the hell up out of here.